When you're looking to buy a home, one of the things we're highly focused on is not wasting money. What can we save money on? What closing costs are not essential? And we're doing all this like brain power focus on that. But one thing that we don't like invest in is things that'll save you time and energy. Because let me tell you what, there's a lot of traps and pitfalls in the buying process or even home searching process that really suck. I just spent all day falling into some of these today, and I really want to use that energy and bring it for some good use and give it to you guys to hopefully help you. Hi guys, my name's Javier Vidana and welcome to Home Goals. This channel is all about helping you accomplish your home goals, whether if it's your first time buying a home, your 17th time buying a home. I want to bring you valuable resources and tools so that way you don't get taken advantage of in the home buying or selling process. So let's get into it. Here's the first thing that you really need to do. All right, let's just assume I'm on Zillow. A lot of you guys use Zillow. Zillow is actually one of my favorite search tools as well. And let's just look up a random house in an area near me. Okay, let's say Glendale, Arizona with 3 bedrooms. Okay. Let's say we're looking at a price of about, $450,000. And we are looking for 2 bathrooms, and we're looking for a house. We're not looking for anything like kind of condos or anything. And we're looking for something with a, let's say a pool. Yeah. Pool. There you go. So we're automatically going to see a bunch of sweet houses. And the one thing you're going to notice right away is this little sign here called open. Oh, wait, you guys can't see it on your end, but let me shift over here. There you go. You're going to see on the right-hand side here, open 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Okay. And on top of that, you might not even be online. You might be out there looking at houses and you're going to see an open house sign, or you're going to see things like this. And one of the hugest, that's not a word, biggest time wasters out there is going to be looking at open houses when the time isn't right. Let's go over what I mean when the time isn't right. First of all, let me show you something really awesome. My wife and I are in the process of building a pool. And let me tell you something right now, guys. It is super expensive and it's a pain in the butt. I don't recommend you build a pool. If you're looking to buy a pool, please, please, please buy a house that already has it. But anyways, look at this. My wife spent like an hour or two like drawing this out for our pool designers. Isn't that so cool? I love her. Mercy is her name, and she probably doesn't watch these videos, but if you like this, say in the comments, good job, Mercy, and just completely confuse everybody who's looking at the comments and not watching the videos. But anyways, let me open up a new page. Buying a house has a timeline. Really, that's like a 12, 15 steps, but let's just like do only 3 steps right now to make it super simple, okay? Oh, geez Louise, I can't make a straight line. Let's draw these 2 here, and basically it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, okay? The first phase of the home buying process is your research phase. This is your information gathering phase. This one is you're looking with intention. Some people call it house hunting. I don't know. I think it's a little too vulgar. So I'm just like looking with intention. And the third phase of buying a house, third phase. It's late. I'm making this video. I've been showing houses all day, okay? Is the escrow period, okay? And each one of these periods, it takes a major event to happen to move on to the next one. So for example, when you're looking with intention, meaning you're looking at houses with the ability to make an offer, what makes you go to the next phase, that main key event, that canon event, if you will, is going to be actually getting your offer accepted. That's what's going to lead to the next step. And the key from 1 to 2, from research to looking with intention, is actually 2 steps, is getting pre-qualified and hiring an agent, because now you actually need to sign a contract with an agent. So doing both of these items, which basically in short words, hiring your lender and agent, getting pre-qualified and your agent, is going to be what leads you to the looking with intention phase. So here's the problem that a lot of us face. There's nothing wrong with being in this phase for like 1 to 24 months. It could take you guys time to get to there. Maybe you're working on your credit. Maybe you're not where you want with your job. You're taking steps towards becoming an excellent buyer still. So you're working on a lot of things. And a lot of us like to really rush things because we see a house that we like. We see, oh man, my cousin, my friend, on Instagram, they just posted they bought a house. If they can buy a house, why can't we? And we have all these thoughts going in our head, and we really push that to the next step. And one key reason that gets you to go into the next step, that really starts grinding the gears, is going to look at houses physically. Listen, here's some basic rules that I will give you that you need to ask yourself before you go look at a house. Okay. If you see a house that you like in that's an open house, first off, is it in the neighborhood that you absolutely sure that you love or you're researching? Okay. The first question to ask yourself. If it is, then yeah, go check it out. If it's not, it's just like, oh, it's a random open house while you're going to get coffee in a random neighborhood. Oof, maybe it's not the right time. Second rule I have for you is, are you in a strong mental position to not be sold right now? Because listen, if you get a freaking savvy real estate agent that is just the right type of person for you, and they're just going to start sweet talking the why buying a house is the right decision for you and your family, and don't you think you and your family deserve better than renting? What did that landlord do? That landlord, oh my God, you need to just, girl, you need to start looking for a house. Boy, you need to start, like, what if they start telling you all the right things? Are you mentally ready to be an ass? Really, Mr. Javy, our editor, cross out number 2 for whatever you put, and put, are you ready to be an ass? Because you're going to have to be a little bit of an ass. So if you're not ready in that position, or you're not ready to be a gentle ass at least, then don't go. Like, if you're susceptible and you're in that moment, you feel like you're going to be influenced, don't do it. If you could go in there and just be like, hi, I just want to look at the house. We need you to sign in for, okay, that's fine. Put a fake name and email. But who no one's going to blame you. I do open houses sometimes, and I get people that fake email me, and I'm just like, touche. So, or maybe you do have a spam email or something. Whatever the case is, go in there and look at the house, do what you got to do. If they want to start chatting with you, I'm okay, thank you, and then just go. And the third rule I have for you is it even in the right price range? I get it, looking at mansions are fun and all, but if you know that area that open house is in right now is way over your budget, why? Just don't. It's fun. That's great. You can go look at fancy houses. Go watch HGTV. Don't go into houses that are more expensive and potentially endanger your budget, because the truth of the matter is, the scary part about this country is you could buy a house you can't afford the way the qualification rules are set up. So don't put yourself in that position where you might consider doing that to you and your finances. So if those 3 rules apply, then you can go look at the open house. But for every other reason, you need to understand your timeline. Are you in the research phase right now? If you are, be stricter about the open house that you're going to go into. If you're looking with intention, then you have a realtor already. First of all, go look at the house with your agent. Don't go open houses. But if you are in a position where you have to go look at an open house, then just go in there. Hey, I have an agent already. I'm good. We're just looking at this house. Trust me, there's nothing that gets you an agent like anti-agent lotion is saying you have an agent. You already have a license. I already have an agreement signed with another agent. They're going to just run away from you. It's a big time waster. It's a big energy waster, not only for everyone involved, the seller, the agent, but you especially. You're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to start considering things that you're not quite ready for. So just don't do it. Don't go to the open house. Just do yourself a favor. Don't do it. The second one is going to be aimed more towards people that already are looking, or maybe you're you're like at 1.5, where you're still in the process of hiring your agent or lender, or you're almost there. So you're now actually like looking seriously online, but maybe not in person, or maybe, something like that. You need to be really aware of this. Stop focusing on the aesthetics of a house. Stop focusing on the appearance of the house. Or, as a third term, stop focusing on the marketing for that house. This one, I think it's pretty simple, but I think a lot of us still need that refresher, including myself, because I still fall for it too all the time. When we walk into a house, or we look at photos of the house, or we look at the outside, and we already, I always say this, within the first 10 to 30 seconds of you getting out of your car and walking to the door and getting inside the house, you probably made 80% of your decision. And I know, because I've done this for more than 10 years, I kind of know when we walk into a house, it's going to be like, oh, they're going to probably make an offer on this house, just by the reactions and how they're behaving by walking into it. Unfortunately, a lot of it is led with that idea of like how it appears, how it looks. There's one thing that I've learned. I wish I would have known this from the beginning, but unfortunately I've had to learn the hard way. This has come true almost every single time, and there's exceptions to this, but they're extremely, extremely rare. The more a house is remodeled, the more dangerous you're potentially getting yourself in. So it's not, a lot of times we look at remodeled and we go like safety, or we're disillusioned by it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that happen. So let's say if there is a chart here, right? And it's remodeled, and this line is going to be like interest. Unfortunately, most people like fall for like this, where if the house is extremely remodeled and it's also it's going to attract a high interest. Like that's usually, this is where people are the type of house that you want to buy. And these are the ones that get the most attention. These are the ones that sell really quickly. But they're really, this rule always comes to mind of, if a more remodeled, the more dangerous. And I don't mean dangerous dangerous means a lot of things. Dangerous could mean there's actually a lot of issues with the house that are underneath. There could be potential of value problems because you're buying the nicest house in the neighborhood and you're buying at the really stretching out your budget. On top of that, if you ever want to change the image of the house, like you're buying someone else's vision, right? So if you ever want to shift it, it's going to cost money to not only build, but to tear down. So it ends up being more expensive. So I don't mean dangerous like you're going to die or anything like that, but I want to really scream that dangerous word so your brain really picks up on being afraid of a remodeled house. Because once again, a lot of people think they're going to be buying a house here. And really that's where a lot of people fall, is the untrained brain. If it's super nice and remodeled, there's a lot of interest. But rarely when people are here, when it's like low remodeled, then there's usually low interest, right? And if there ever is high interest on a low remodeled house, actually, I just thought about this as I was talking. I think this makes more sense. So let's say this is your interest level and this is the remodeled. So this is high remodel, high interest, okay? These houses sell so much, and this is where people think they want to be. But this also, I'm going to put a big skull here. This is the danger part because of all the things I mentioned here. I want you to train your brain to avoid this area at all costs. I get it. What if, Javier, it's a really good price? Oh, no. You're not buying someone else's vision. I would just avoid them at all costs, okay? The ones that have low interest but are over remodeled are usually overpriced. And that's why they haven't sold, because they're really nice remodeled, but they're just remodeled in a really like weird area. Like this area doesn't really have remodeled houses. Why would you remodel? Or it's like remodeled in a nice area, but it's just like too expensive. So that's one you want to avoid too. Like let them foreclose, let them pay the price for trying to be greedy and stretch values out. Avoid these as well at all costs. Now here we're going to have our high interest, low remodel. So these are the houses that are like really well maintained. Okay. This is like gold right here. If you ever find something in this category, these are the houses that are like, it's like older folks that lived there. They just maintained it and they maintain it really well. They got it painted every other year. They got their AC tune-up done 2-3 times a year. They just maintain it at a high level. There's something, I don't want to insult us millennials and the zillennials and everybody in our younger generation, but we don't take care of our crap. Okay. Honestly, I need to change my filters for my AC, and I haven't done that in like over a month or two. I'm over a month through on them. Or I think I did change them, but I forgot to change one and I still haven't replaced it. We're not good with maintenance. I don't know what it is. You feel free to leave a comment below, whatever. You're probably going to say something anyways, but there's just something about the older generation of people that just take care of their stuff really well. The beautiful part about this is if it's high interest and it's really well modeled, these are great and all, but they're usually high interest because they're really marketed really well. And these sometimes sell fast. Sometimes they don't perform well in a tough market like we are now, but those are the ones you want to take care of. And here we have, these are just the houses that need a lot of work, right? Fixer uppers. And a lot of people think this is the where you want to focus on. But honestly, if you're like me, we're not really handy. Like we don't want to be working on a house or like replace major components. So really I've found that there's a nice break here in the middle where we should be really focusing our time and energy finding a house here. If you can find something around this range, maybe a little bit here, I think this is where the gold is, right? Not something that's really well marketed and it's going to sell fast and you have to compete with, but something that's been really well maintained, but maybe it's just a little more work than usual or hasn't been marketed well and it's sold. And once again, this is all easier said than done. A lot of us are more on the vain side, including myself, where we look at a really nice house that's really remodeled and like, this is it. I want you to really try your best and say, I want to avoid here. I want to avoid here. I want to be here. Now, there's nothing wrong with being up here. Okay. There's people out there Jeez Louise, I don't know where that hair came from. I hope it's not me. Geez, sorry. There's people out there that are making good money right now. You're making awesome money. You're doing well in life. And you're like, Javier, I want to buy something that's just ready to go. I don't want to worry about tearing anything down. That is a-okay. You don't have to listen to me and say, focus on those. Like, that's fine. I'm more talking to the first time home buyers out there that are like, well, maybe I'm not struggling, but they're like having a hard time finding a house they like. If you're in a position where you're making good money and you're like, dude, I'm going to pay a little more for a good house that's in good shape, then I would still like really recommend you try not being completely over here where it's like extremely remodeled. So like up here where there's high interest and it's like really remodeled. There's a difference between over remodeled and just being like remodeled. Over remodeled, like let me show you a house I showed today to give you an example. So this house right here, we pulled up and the area's like, okay, it's not like super like upscale, super fancy, but we walked up and immediately there's like a, whoa, there's something, this is super like fancy and it doesn't fit in this neighborhood at all. Let me show you like a neighborhood picture if I can, maybe it'll help. Oh wait, and I forgot I'm on Brave now. Brave doesn't have, that's okay. I've been using Brave lately and there's some good and some bad. And one thing I do miss about it is the Google map just being ready to go. Okay. Does it not have, yeah, let me look, I'm gonna look at, there you go. Oh, wow. It's still not super remodeled yet here. But anyways, let me show you the neighborhood. They're like good houses. They're like good old, just fancy houses, not overly fancy houses, I should say, right? They're nicer, but they're not like super over remodeled and polished. Well, we pull up to this place and we're like, holy smokes. We walk in and it's just like, where's the classical music at, right? Like really nice kitchen, really nice flooring. They made the carport into a dining room, which I don't really know why they would do that. But anyways, really like overly done bathrooms. Jeez Louise, it's like over the top. If you're in the camp of like, Javier, I'm going to spend a little more money. I want something that's move-in ready. I don't want to have to spend a bunch of time and money. Okay, great. Perfect. Let's do that. But don't go at a 9 or 10 of remodeling. First, you don't want to buy the nicest house in the block. This house is definitely the nicest house in the block. And even if they do eventually sell it, whoever buys it is going to be literally the top of the value bracket in that neighborhood. And yes, houses aren't a great investment right now, but at least you want to set yourself up somewhat okay, right? And a house like this is just too remodeled for the neighborhood. Here's another house I showed today. This house is also, I would say, just remodeled. I mean, they've done a lot of work to it, but it's really loved and taken care of. And you can tell the renovations that were done because the owner lives there and cares about the house and not just trying to make a buck. The kitchen is really nice and upscale. Their backyard, let me show you real quick. It has like a nice little custom little grill area. Not say little, that's demeaning, but pool's super nice. House is just in excellent condition. I would still consider it like on the remodeled camp because it is nicer and fixed up. You don't have, it's a more than move-in ready. It's definitely polished, but it was done like a little bit more practically, where they spent the money on it because they love the house. And I would still do my best to avoid flippers. I would try to find the remodeled houses where people have lived in it and just had the extra money to invest in their house, and you're buying a more polished product. And my last thing, this is a little longer video, so I hope you guys are getting some good stuff. Please, if you're getting some good stuff, I would appreciate some feedback or just what you've got out of it, or if you have any other, tips or anything for the comment section, because people not only listen to me, but they listen to our community here that we've created. So thank you so much for listening so far. Also, just so you know, if you haven't had the time to subscribe or comment, it really does help the channel. Thank you. I took like a 2-month break and I'm back at it now, but YouTube is struggling to get me pushing out again. So I would appreciate any help there. But anyways, the third thing I have for you guys is going back to the same thing I always say. You're going to save so much time and energy just by being aware of where you need to be for your budget. Okay. I'm assuming at this point, you've already worked towards being an excellent buyer. You're in excellent credit shape. You're in excellent budget shape. You have your budget in mind. You have all this stuff ready to go. You still should be aware of what that monthly payment that works for your budget is and what purchase price equals that payment. Okay. Figure that out now. Don't go look at a bunch of houses, get under contract, and then find out the monthly payment's way too high and you're like, I think I'm just not going to move forward with it. And you cancel. And now you feel weird calling your agent and lender, and now you're just like, oh, I don't even want to buy. Maybe buying a house is, you're burnt out. Maybe buying a house isn't for me. No, if you would have just taken time to just look in and figure out, where does my budget need to be, right? There's a lot of tools out there, including mine, that you can pay for. But let me just show you a very, very simple way of doing this, okay? And this, literally just pull out your calculator for this. We don't need anything fancy here, okay? Whoa, zooming in on myself, sorry. No, wrong one. There you go. Here's the thing. You start off by figuring out first what your budget looks like. Where do you want to be at? There's a lot of rules for where your monthly payment should be, as you know, versus your net income. You know, Dave Ramsey says 25% of your net if you're doing a 15-year mortgage. Some people are saying 30% of your net, 33% of your net. There's a lot of rules of thoughts out there. It's up to you to figure out where you want to. I have learned with this new economy and environment we're in, I used to push so much, guys, do not buy unless you're buying under 30% of your net. And so many people are just like, dude, like no one can buy at that point. So as much as it's easy for me to just say, hey guys, be under 25 or 30% of your net, I also understand that's not the environment we're in right now. So I just want you to be aware that you have picked a number. Is it 30%? Is it 35? Is it 40? Just try not to make it 50. Can we at least agree on that? Can we not make it 50? But whatever number you choose, pick it. Okay. So you get your monthly net income. And if you don't know what your monthly net income, this is what you're actually taking home. So let's say you take home about $4,000 every month. Your honey bunny brings home about $3,200 a month. Oh, let's say your honey bunny makes more money than you, $4,100. So you get that monthly net income number, and then you multiply it by the number that you're trying to be at. So if you're at the 40% of your month, you don't want your mortgage payment to be more than 40% of your monthly income, then that's the monthly payment that you need to be under. And there's a big difference within this because you and your honey bunny, on paper, technically, if you check your gross income, you probably make more money than this. You probably make closer to $10,800 on paper, because that's your gross income before taxes. And this is the number that lenders are going to use to qualify you. They're going to get about, probably estimate around 50% of this. So they're going to qualify you up to $5,400. So they'll push your net income, a monthly payment, really high. And if you just listen to them. But if you're just using your own rule, you're like, hey, I just want to be under 3,000, and that would be approximately 3,100, about 37%, then that's the monthly payment that you stick with. Now, once you have that number, so let's say you want to be at 3,000, then really just pull up any mortgage calculator out there. Let me just pull a random one up. Give me 1 second. This is my friend Kyle Seagraves Win the House You Love calculator that he has on his website. I think there's a discount code in my description, but there's a lot of free ones out there. I just like using his because I can adjust things a little more. So if I'm looking, let's say in Arizona, and he's estimating insurance a little on the higher side, I think we're closer to here, and taxes that's a little on the higher side as well. We're probably around here. So then just kind of start plugging numbers and figuring out where we need to be. So if I'm going to go FHA, 3.5% down. Interest rates right now for FHA, I can just go to Mortgage News Daily, which, give me 1 sec. I can see here it's at 6.39 today, the FHA. Okay. So we're going to put the interest rate at 6.39, and then we figure out what monthly payment does that give us. That gives us approximately $2,906. Okay. Doesn't include HOA though. I think the area that we're going to be looking at will probably have HOA. So where do I put HOA, Kyle? Oh, there it is right there. 83 a month? Sure, let's do 83 a month. $2,989. Okay, I got really lucky. So $400,000 gives me 29. So if I push it to 420, the reason why I use his calculator is because whenever I change numbers, it changes it pushes the down payment and stuff like that, and his doesn't. So that's why I'm using his. It pushes me to 3138. So if I push it to 420, I'm just aware it's going to push me about $100 or $200 more than what I want. So 400 is probably where I'm going to want to be. So you figure that out. And now you might not get lucky and immediately. I mean, it's kind of unfair because I do this for a living. So of course I know what a range is going to be there, but you kind of just use any mortgage calculator and figuring out until you get to that number. And why I can't just give you a foolproof, hey, plug this number in, you're going to know exactly, because every state is different. We all have different property state taxes. We all have insurance, different insurance rates, so it's just better to use some kind of calculator where you're able to identify all that. So do this first before you start looking. You might find out that it's not your time right now, and that's okay. Prices are just too high, or the house that you're looking for is just not where you need to, or maybe you really have to stretch your budget a bit more. So you're gonna have to really like, do I have to pick up another job? Do I have to wait till I get married? A lot of us are in that situation where, now I say us, I'm married. Please, ladies, don't text me. Oh shoot, what a mess. I started the video praising my wife, and now I'm just making a fool of myself. Is that a bald spot? Oh no. Anyways, what was I saying? A lot of you guys are in a position where maybe single income isn't enough, so you're waiting to the situation to change, right? Or maybe you go for a condo or something. I don't know. It's okay as long as you're aware. It's all about awareness. Let's not all get depressed. Houses are expensive. Yes, it sucks right now, but just be aware of the situation that you're in and what needs to change. And maybe rates will drop and maybe you're in a position again. I don't know. We just have to be aware of the situation. But anywho, I hope this video brought a lot of value to you guys. Please leave anything or feedback or any comments you have in the description, in the comments below. I'm now going to go and probably give my kids a bath and go hug my wife and say I'm sorry for making such a terrible joke about ladies not emailing me.